Balden. I am from the Hillsborough County Planning Commission. Thank you for joining us for this presentation about the Valrico Community Plan. We're going to let people sort of file in here for maybe 2 or 3 more minutes, and then we'll get started with the presentation we have prepared for you. And we'll be taking questions. You should be able to chat us a question. The chat button is located on the toolbar. It's that sort of like blackish gray bar of options, and there should be a button that says chat and has a little like speech bubble. So we will be reading those questions and answering them after our presentation. But again, appreciate everybody being here, and we'll get started shortly. All right, everybody. Again, my name is Valrico Balden, and we're here today to talk about the Valrico Community Plan. So we've already been out in the community a couple days earlier. We had some open houses on Saturday and Monday evening at Mulrennan Middle School. So this presentation is exactly the presentation that we gave in person to the folks that came out and joined us at those meetings. And this is just an opportunity to get people involved again virtually. So we thank you for being here, and we'll get started. So let me advance the slide. Again, we're asking that if you have any questions, to please use the chat function that should be in the little toolbar of the meeting that we're in. And we'll read those questions and answer them for the group after our presentation. So just to get started, you can see on our slides that we have a heading here called planhillsborough.org. So basically, that is the organization that I am a staff member of, and my colleague Jay Collins, who is another planner on this project. We are staff for Plan Hillsborough, and basically we're an organization that includes 3 different agencies that are involved in long-range planning, urban planning, transportation planning, and environmental planning for the county. So you can see here specifically, Jay and I are from the Hillsborough County City-County Planning Commission, and we're the agency that oversees the comprehensive plan, community plans, that sort of thing. We have colleagues from an organization called the Hillsborough TPO. Those folks are involved with long-range transportation policy. And then we have a third group, and they are focused on the Hillsborough River and collaborating and planning along with projects that affect development along the river. And then so more specifically, again, I said Jay and I are from the Planning Commission. So what is the Hillsborough County Planning Commission? Well, we were established by state legislature in the 1960s. Basically, we're an independent agency that works with the jurisdictions of the governments within Hillsborough County. So that includes the city of Tampa, the city of Temple Terrace, Hillsborough County itself, the city of Plant City. And so basically we maintain the long range comprehensive plan of each of those governments, and we make recommendations to the elected officials of those governments. So specifically with Valrico, you all are in unincorporated Hillsborough County. So you are represented by Commissioner Michael Owen, who sits on the Board of County Commissioners. So this plan was actually initiated by a request of Michael Owen, and we are here chatting with you today to, create this document and move through this process with you all, and again make that recommendation to your representatives on the Board of County Commissioners. What is a comprehensive plan and what is a community plan? So this graphic kind of shows like the levels that these things sit within. So a comprehensive plan is, it's not unlike a strategic plan for an organization or some sort of document like that. But basically, it looks to the future. It lays out goals, policies, and objectives about what a certain area is hoping to accomplish. So specifically, Valrico being in unincorporated Hillsborough County, we're talking about the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan. And so there's different chapters within that plan that speak to different topics that are pertinent to an area that functions and grows successfully. So those chapters are called like housing, transportation, land use, environment, that sort of thing. So there is one chapter in this plan called the livable communities element or chapter. And that chapter is entirely dedicated to having a place for community plans to live in. So like I said, we're creating a Valrico community plan in this process, and that plan will live in this chapter of the bigger comprehensive plan for the unincorporated Hillsborough County area. And if you have questions about this, feel free to type them into the chat box. And then so going back to the Valrico community plan, within that plan, we have a vision, we have goals, and we have strategies. And so that's what Jay and I are here to introduce to you all and to create with you throughout this process that's going to last for about a year, where we're going to be out in the community gathering feedback and trying to understand what it's like in Valrico to create a vision statement, to create goals that people who live there are hoping to accomplish, and then to create some strategies that will will help accomplish those goals. And then to the right of these tiers, you can see an area that's labeled land development code or zoning. And so that's just to demonstrate that these two are different tools. So the comprehensive plan has these different sections, and it accomplishes that long range vision, that long range objective setting exercise. And the land development code, which is where land is zoned and described, is a second tool that lives separately from the comprehensive plan. And it regulates how things are developed, and it describes aspects of construction and building in a more specific manner. But it is a different tool and is separate from what we're chatting about today. More specifically, I kind of introduced this, but what is a community plan? So like the previous graphic showed, it lives within the comprehensive plan, but basically it's an opportunity for urban planners and for the community of that area to look more specifically at a smaller area. So for example, we're chatting about Valrico. So we're going to look specifically about the challenges, the opportunities, the strengths and the weaknesses of Valrico. And we're going to address those things in this plan. And so because it lives within the greater comprehensive plan, it helps to inform the bigger plan, but it provides that smaller slice of information specific to Valrico. And so just some background, there's already 22 of these plans that have been created throughout the last 20 years. So for example, Brandon has a community plan, Sefner Mango has a community plan, like Waimama has one, and Valrico currently does not have one. So we're starting from scratch. And that's why, you know, your input is so important, and being involved in this process is very valuable, because we're creating an entirely new plan. So how is a community plan used? So it basically touches a lot of different parts of the government and community. So for example, Hillsborough County staff, when they look to make decisions about projects, how to allocate resources for maintenance, improvements of infrastructure, they look at the comprehensive plan, and by default look at community plans as well. And then, like I mentioned, we're here creating this plan because your elected representatives identified a need for this exercise. And so at the end of this process, when they have a community plan for Valrico, they can use that when they consider decisions that they make about development. And then you'll see J&I's agency here, the Hillsborough County Planning Commission. When a community plan is created, our agency uses that when we review applications for new development and when we write policies for other areas of the comprehensive plan. So more importantly, how can you all use this plan? How does it benefit you? How does it help you achieve what you want for your community? So by being a part of this process, we're basically memorializing what you're saying to us. It's another channel for you to communicate what the Valrico community is concerned about, what they're hoping to accomplish, what they would like the area to look like, feel like, that sort of thing. So by being a part of this this process, your comments, your feedback, your participation are public record. They are memorialized. They are part of this system that we use to create a community plan. And so once that plan is created, you know, you can use that plan to participate in other parts of your government and to support the public comment and the concerns that you have to things that are happening, you know, in Hillsborough County and that affect Valrico. So what does a community plan not do? So kind of how, like we pointed out, that the community plan does not is different from the land development code or zoning. You know, a community plan, it lives on its own. It interacts with other aspects of government regulation, but it does not specifically allocate money for specific projects. So a community plan isn't going to be the same as like a budget or a capital improvements plan. It's basically, like I said, more of a vision statement, a mission statement, priorities that the community has that sends a message to other parts of Hillsborough County's government and administration about what Valrico wants to accomplish. And so again, another part of this is that a community plan does not generally change property, a property's land use or zoning, because again, the plan is not the code, and it is not gonna prescribe like specific rules about the way a building is designed for the most part. So this is a little review of what we've talked about so far. Basically, the Planning Commission received a request from your representatives on the Board of County Commissioners to create a new community plan for the Valrico area. This is not an update. This is an entirely new plan that we're creating from scratch for Valrico. This is the first step of our process. We are working with the community to eventually develop the goals and the strategies we use to accomplish those goals with you all, the members of Valrico community. And then at the end of this, the completed community plan will be adopted. So the Board of County Commissioners will vote to adopt what this document says, what it is, and then it will live in the livable communities element of the Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan. So just broad overview of how you can get involved and what to expect from Jay and I over this next year in this process. So again, you are already involved. You're here in this virtual meeting asking questions, and we appreciate you being here. We had in-person meetings at Mulrennan Middle School over the weekend and this Monday evening. And then we have a series of activities that we're hoping to have at those in-person meetings that also are you're able to participate on with online. So we have a website that describes everything that I'm saying, and that includes links to opportunities for you to give us feedback and to react to the materials that we're creating. Currently, we have a survey that you can answer some very brief questions about Valrico up on this website. And I'll make sure to put the link to the website in the chat, and I'll show you the website after we get through the slides. And then another opportunity we have is that Jay and I and other members of our team will be out in the community, at least in a monthly basis, holding what we call office hours. So that means one of us will be at the library or some other easily accessible kind of community space. And we'll have our maps, we'll have information available there, and we'll be there for you all to ask questions or to chat about some of the things we're working on more specifically at your convenience. And then lastly, we have opportunities for people to volunteer to help us with this process. We call those people plan ambassadors. Basically, they help us communicate about what we're talking about with their neighbors. So that is shaking out to be kind of like a bi-monthly kind of commitment where we sort of check in with this group of people, these plan ambassadors. We give them an overview of what we're doing, and we give them like flyers, we give them information that they can share with, again, their neighbors. And the hope is that you all help us sort of spread the word about what's going on. And then it's a two-way street. So like, if you're hearing comments from your neighbors about the project, that they would like to share with us, you can be a conduit of that information for us. And it's very helpful in, getting participation going in an area. So these were the two meetings we had over the past few days. So we had July 24th and July 28th. And again, we showed these same slides to those folks. So maybe you've heard from some of your neighbors who attended this meeting about it. But our next set of meetings, in-person meetings, will be September 23rd and September 25th at the times that are listed on this slide. This information is on our website. This whole presentation is also on our website. So, if you're feverishly scribbling notes, you can, feel free to keep doing that, but you can also go to our website and find this information. And at this next meeting, basically, we're going to provide a summary of everything we chatted about at the first meetings and have some additional activities for you all to give us feedback about, specifically like the vision statement that we're hoping to create with all of you, and the topics that we're hoping to address when we create goals for the plan. What is not listed here is the virtual meeting that we're going to follow up with. And so that is pending, but that meeting date will be on the website. And all of you today who signed up to join us at this virtual meeting, you're now on our mailing, our mailing list. So in addition to being able to just look up this information on your own, we will be emailing you updates with dates for meetings and additional materials as well. So we are in the first phase. We are just now speaking to all of you. This is our first meeting. These are the first steps we're taking in tackling some of those objectives that I described, creating a vision, creating goals, and creating like a map of Valrico. So we're in phase one, and phase one will probably last till the end of 2023, the beginning of 2024. And that's where we'll begin to draft the vision statement, the goals, and something called a concept map, which is basically a visualization of the vision and the goals that we're working with you on. So in phase two, we hope before that we move forward with anything new, we hope to get your buy-in that we heard you correctly. So we'll be reporting out on what we worked on in phase one. And then what we'll do is we'll start introducing activities that help us create strategies to accomplish the goals that we created in phase one. And we'll continue to collect your feedback. We'll continue to do in-person meetings and be out in the community doing office hours, that sort of thing. And then our hope is that into the summer to the end of 2024, again, we'll report out what we worked on in phase two. We'll make sure we heard you correctly. And then we'll start actually putting all of these things into a single document that will be the draft community plan. That draft community plan will then be, sent back to you, for your feedback, but it will also start being sent to our colleagues and the other agencies and branches of Hillsborough County's government for their feedback, their review. And we'll collect all of that and make sure that the plan is in a good place. And basically, when it meets that sort of threshold, we'll apply to submit the plan to the Board of County Commissioners via something called the Comprehensive Plan Amendment process. And so that's when we officially basically file for the plan to be heard and to be voted for and adopted. And so that's the very last step of this process. So that is the overview of what we hope to work on, who we are, and how we hope to accomplish what we're saying. This second part of the presentation is informational about Valrico. So we have some maps, we have some numbers, and we have some responses for the survey that we've had open since April that your neighbors have taken and have started to help us kind of create this this project for Valrico. So a big conversation we've been having and we've been hearing from a lot of community members is, what exactly is Valrico? And so that is something that this process is hoping to define. A lot of you probably live in a zip code that the Postal Service designates as Valrico. But again, Valrico is not an incorporated city. It is not an area that has a specific boundary. The map that you're seeing right now is showing a proposed boundary, a boundary that Hillsborough County has used essentially for record keeping about defining the Valrico area. And I just want to be upfront that this boundary does not affect your school districts. It does not affect your police department or your tax appraisal. This boundary is specifically just for, urban planners, other staff of the county to have a reference for what, when somebody says Valrico, this is generally the area we consider to be Valrico. But a part of this community plan is that we are opening this discussion up to the community. Is this Valrico? Are there areas that should be included in this boundary? And that's something that gets memorialized at the end of this process when we have our completed document. So again, right now, this is a starting point, and we're really interested to hear from you all, if there are areas that should be included or changed. The yellow that is here points to existing community plans. So you can see that the Brandon community plan kind of butts up to Lithia Pinecrest. In the north west corner of the map, that community plan is the Seffner Mango community plan, which butts up to Sydney Road. And then there's some other areas here that that may be Valrico in parentheses, but are currently not in our draft boundary. So that's a big question we have and a big activity that we hope to explore with all of you. And if you go to our survey there, we would love to hear your comments about this map. So just some numbers about Valrico. The average household size is about 3 people. 42% of the households in the Valrico area have a yearly income of 100,000 or more. We have the racial ethnic breakdown of the area in the 3rd bullet. And then the 4th bullet is another bit of information that we usually look at, is that 3% of households do not own a car. This is a spectrum. When you look at the other community plans, these numbers change differently, but they help us create a foundation of some of the opportunities that we have to address with the community plan. And then I've broken up into a pie chart, just like the age breakdown of the area. So you can see the majority of people are actually aged 18 to 64, which is a big bracket. But you can see that 18 to 44-year-olds are about the same as 45 to 64-year-olds in their frequency in Valrico. I think the 45 to 64-year-olds are a little more frequent, but there's just some background info that we've gathered about the area. And then just more specifically, when we look at like housing, jobs, residences. So in 2022, about 50,000 people lived here, and they lived in about 18,000 homes. And there were about 6,500 jobs located here. In 2045, our numbers project that Valrico will grow to about 56,000 people, about 21,000 homes, and 8,600 jobs. So there is growth happening there, and that's pretty normal across the county. Hillsborough County is growing. So specifically, like when you think about how growth shows up in an area, you often think about like buildings or homes. So in 2022, 87% of the homes in Valrico are single family. And when you look at the unincorporated Hillsborough County area as a whole, that percentage is 68%. So you could say that Valrico is more distinct in terms of like it has more single family homes than a typical average of the county. And then from 2011, you had 1,387 residential units that were built, and 83% of those units were single family. And so, just the reverse of that is that 15% were multifamily. So you can still see that since 2011, Valrico, the predominant development that's been happening here are single family homes. And so the next step here is an overview of what your neighbors have been saying about Valrico in our vision survey. And so these are just responses from April to July, and they demonstrate just kind of what we've been hearing from folks, and just want to provide that back to you. So you can see, again, we have our map here that has the boundary that I described in the previous map that had the yellow. But basically, we're asking people like, does this look like Valrico to you? Yes or no? So a good majority of the people who took the survey say, yeah, this looks like Valrico. We are hearing people who say no, or we're hearing people that have more specific feedback about what areas should be included. But if, for example, 500 people had said no, I think then we would be, in a place where we would have to be really throwing this boundary away, perhaps. But since the majority of people have been saying yes, we're going to work with this boundary. We're going to add to it. We're going to edit it. So, if you have opinions about this, please take our survey. Please go to our website and let us know how you feel. So the second question in the survey is asking people how to describe the Valrico area today. So a lot of people have used words like congested, crowded, overdeveloped, overcrowded, growing. But there are, we are hearing things like beautiful, like family oriented, family friendly, country, like small town kind of thing. So this is helpful because, I think it's obvious, it's human nature to put the issues sort of float to the top. So you can see that the issues that people are describing to us are that like Valrico feels crowded, but there's also folks who say, it's peaceful. So we have to find the reality behind these words. A single word is hard to describe something, but Jay and I and our team are going to be spending our time with you all finding out what you mean when you say something is crowded. Does that mean like there's traffic, or does it mean that there's like a lot of buildings? So that's what we'll be spending our time doing. And then we asked, what do you like about Valrico? What are some of its assets? And these comments are just randomly selected from the 445 that were collected in that time period. So, we're noticing that a lot of people mention that trees are an asset and something that they like about Valrico. We also noticed that people, again, repeated that there's a small town feel and that Valrico is close to everything they need. Yet, it's convenient, but it's far from like a city kind of feeling, but you can still drive to the city. So there's a lot of like nuance to the assets of Valrico. So what parts of Valrico need improvement? What is missing? So about 430 people responded to this question, and they said the following things: better community parks, the roads are congested, there's a lot of homes that are being built. Basically, like the roads are congested because there's construction. We have road design and construction, and we have another comment about recreation. So, you're starting to see kind of like the patterns that come out of the survey. And that's why it's so important for you to take the survey and to share the survey with your neighbors, so we can collect these comments and start creating like areas that we need to look into. In this question, we asked people to describe Valrico in the future. And so there may have been maybe some misunderstanding, or people are just pessimistic about Valrico, but that's why we're doing a community plan. Hopefully we can make you optimistic about Valrico, but people use the same words as they did in the first question. So you can see congested, crowded, overpopulated, that sort of thing. But, there are some optimistic words here. You can see like green, family oriented, safe. So this is like, those are those goals that we're talking about. When we ask like what you want to see Valrico to being like in the future, we're aspiring to create Valrico in a good state in the future. So like, what does that mean to you? Like when we say like an ideal Valrico, that to some people it meant that it was safe. It meant that there was green space, that sort of thing. And so, just to add some more detail to that question, like, what do you like about this ideal Valrico? People are saying that, like it's close to what they need. And obviously like traffic has been addressed. People have talked about like having options for places to shop, places to eat, recreation, and then trees basically showed up in all of the questions on the survey. So it's becoming very evident that trees are important to the folks that live here. So, you can see this person describing the shade that it provides character, that sort of thing. So again, like what are we able to change? Like, how can we accomplish what you all have said is the ideal future Valrico? What are some things in your minds that we need to address in order to accomplish that? So some people have said, improving the sidewalks, improving bike lanes, preventing farms from becoming homes, that sort of thing. Changes that do not involve traffic miss the issue. So traffic is very important to this person. This person said that sidewalks again are present, trees are maintained, and then another comment mentioned cohesion from schools to parks and shops. And so that's something that sidewalks provide, right? Like that cohesive connection from those different activities. So if you're theoretical, if your kid is coming home from school, like, are they going to be able to safely walk from school to say like a corner store and then to their house eventually? And likewise, like as an adult, just a pedestrian, like, are you able to do that as well? So, that's something that comment addresses. So at the in-person meeting, we had these following 3 activities. We had a ranking of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We printed out a map that people drew on that talked about boundaries, and we had our survey printed out that people could, physically fill out with a pen and paper. But since we're here virtually, we're really hoping you all go take our survey on our website. Excuse me. And we can collect your feedback on these areas in that way. Again, our next community meetings will be September 23rd and 25th. So if you would all like to come out in person and chat with Jay and I, you would like to draw on some maps, give us feedback in person, this is where you can do it. These meetings will be at Mulreddin Middle School. Apologies. All right. And we'll be going over in more detail the vision statement and the goals that we hope to have you all react to at this meeting. So like I said, my name is Alvaro. That's my contact information. Sophia is our 3rd team member. And of course, Jay Collins is our other team member, and you can contact any of us about this project at these phone numbers and these email addresses. The website that I keep referring to is available at this link. I will go ahead and put this in the chat, but that is sort of the information we have prepared for you today. So I think we can go over to the questions. And I know Jay has been answering some in the text, but we can like flip through there. And if Jay, if there's anything pertinent that you'd want to call out, we can do that as well.
Yeah, thanks, Alvaro. We really appreciate that very informative presentation. We have had a couple of questions. I've been doing my best to answer some of them in the chat, and we can just expand on them just a little bit. One of the questions dealt with where we would actually find the community plans. The community plans are actually located in the comprehensive plan, as Alvaro mentioned, under the livable communities element. So some of these questions, Alvaro, you actually answered within the presentation. It was just that folks actually asked the question before you got around to being able to go through that portion of the presentation. Another question that we got is this the first time Valrico has had a community plan? If so, what was the plan and how well has it been followed? So this is the first time that Valrico has been looked at for a community plan. Again, there are a variety of other community plans, as Alvaro mentioned, whether it's Brandon, Riverview, Gibsonton, Fonona-Sassa, Town and Country, all have community plans. So what was guiding Valrico, or what is guiding Valrico right now? It is just the unincorporated Hillsborough County future land use element and other adopted elements of the comprehensive plan. So again, a community plan is something that is actually more strategic than just your future land use, because it's giving an identity to the community and looking for some of the specific issues that are being brought to the attention by this community and how they can actually be worked on within community planning and within comprehensive planning. Another question, which is very specific, is will the crosstown be extended into Valrico? Through this process, the short answer is no. So what this does, as Alvaro alluded to, is this does allow a visioning process to where folks can have conversations about infrastructure improvements, and they can prioritize those infrastructure improvements or other items within their community that they so choose to prioritize. But there are no dollars involved in community planning. And also there are not specific projects that are normally called out in a community plan. How would a crosstown be extended? That does go through, well, first off, the Expressway Authority of Hillsborough County, which is a different agency. then the Transportation Planning Organization, as well as the Board of County Commissioners with unincorporated Hillsborough County. So there it's a very lengthy process to actually see something like that accomplished, but it certainly is something that has been done before. You can see it with the crosstown connector, that's the Gandy connector in the city of Tampa, as well as the reversible lanes that are operating above the crosstown as it is right now. Let's see, another question was specific to projects that are ongoing or maybe ongoing in the area. So again, you can go to the Hillsborough County viewer. It's a map viewer that actually does have some of the zoning information, and I put that into the chat so that folks can see that. Specifically for an apartment complex that proposed on the southwest corner of Mulrennan and State Road 60, we can find out about that to see what the status of that is. I don't off the top of my head know anything about that. And then for the energy park that is outside of the study area right now, further to the east, to our knowledge, there has not been any movement on that. But again, we will certainly keep everybody abreast of that if we do learn of anything. Sandy Townsend, this is a really good question. Can you provide concrete examples of results from community plans in other areas of the county? I think that the community planning process speaks for itself, and allowing folks the opportunity to do just what we just said, which is to prioritize and strategize for different things that are important to their community, whether it's infrastructure improvements. And what are those infrastructure improvements? Is it mobility improvements? Is it park improvements? Or is it improvements that they would like to see to the built environment, such as overlays to roads for commercial standards? So there's a variety of different things that are good concrete examples of how community planning moves communities forward to allow them the opportunity to say to themselves, we are Valrico, we are not Brandon, we are Valrico, we are not Town and Country. And in the same breath, the folks that are in Town and Country would agree with you and say, we are Town and Country, we are not Valrico. We also put the community plan website right there, which again allows folks to see some of the opportunities of other different community plans that are in unincorporated Hillsborough County. Where would the money come from to achieve the goal of the Valrico plan? So again, that is through your normal processes for budgeting within the county. Again, there is not anything specific that calls out for additional dollars. It just, again, allows the community to have a say to try to organize themselves and strategize and prioritize those dollars going forward. By that, I say, when the Board of County Commissioners is going through its budget process in the summer and into the fall, it allows them, your elected officials, to be able to reflect on an adopted community plan, much in the same way that it allows the public the opportunity to speak to their elected officials through that plan. Will the plan in our feedback so far halt some transportation projects currently being planned? That's an interesting conversation and an interesting question. I think that when you have those conversations of saying we are in support of this and not that, that does obviously hold power and hold sway and hold weight, but I can't speak specifically on how if a project would be stopped in this process, because again, that's not what community planning does. It doesn't specifically start or stop something. It allows for a big picture idea for you to say, these types of mobility improvements are important, and perhaps these type of mobility improvements are not as important. I believe that's what I've got in the comments right now. Alvaro, Priya, do you guys see any other questions that are in here right now?
I'm not seeing any, but I was going to share another link. This is a pretty handy website for Hillsborough County projects in general. and it is their public engagement hub. And you can search for projects and leave your feedback here as well. And this is separate from the community plan process, as Jay said. This link that I just shared is project specific. It's not like a big picture comprehensive planning document, which is what we're creating with you all with your feedback. You know, like in theoretically, or not theoretically, like our document informs the decisions that lead to these projects, but the link that I just shared are in the project phase. They're more specific. So, you know, if you search your area, you'll find things like road improvements or things like that, and you'll find the contact and the opportunity to provide comment to those specific things on that link. So that's where the Hillsborough County public engagement projects are located. We have some more questions here. So will Valrico grow to 4 lanes? I mean, again, like this process doesn't address specifically like the width or the design of a road. And then Jay has provided some information about the long range transportation plan, which would speak to what is proposed to happen across the county in terms of roads. So you can find more information there. And then I shared the link for projects that you all could comment on. And then, you know, we have a comment here talking about north-south Valrico getting wider and the traffic being insane at rush hour. So, you know, not unlike our survey, we're hearing you all that traffic is a problem. And so what Jay, Sophia, and I can produce for you is going to be something like a goal or a strategy that speaks to Valrico, pointing out to their representatives that traffic is a problem. Jay, Sophia, and I cannot make a road wider, you know, but we can we can put in this document that it is important to the residents of Valrico that they are able to navigate their area safely, that they're able to commute. Oh, okay, if I believe in myself, I can. I'll make sure to do that for you, Dan. But, you know, like I said, this community plan informs the decisions that your elected officials make. So when you have this plan, you can submit public comment, you can leverage this plan when you interact with your representatives about these issues. So I will flip that back to you all and say, if you all believe, you can as well. And the community plan is a tool for you to use in order to advocate for the things that you want. That's really what this opportunity is advocating for these things. So they're not the things themselves, but it is a tool to advocate. So I'll go ahead and call your attention back to the screen that I'm still sharing. So this is our website. This is the Valrico Community Plan website. So you can see we have some pictures just of the area, the community meetings we've had. You will always be able to find information about the most recent public meetings at the very top of the page. So you can see here, we have those July 22nd, 24th dates and the 28th. We have a map of where we met. We have the link to upcoming meetings, and we have the presentation that I showed all of you just a couple minutes ago. We have an overview of what we're doing here. We have the video of the Board of County Commissioners meeting where this was requested. And most importantly, we have the survey that we would love for you all to take, which I shared the link in the chat, and we'll be sharing in an email to all of you after this meeting. That survey, we'll keep that survey open until the end of the day on Monday. It's been open since April, and we're at the very tail end of it. So please take this survey over the weekend. Please share it with your neighbors because we are sort of nearing the end of this step. But there will be a second survey coming up towards the beginning of September. So the strategy here is like we talk to all of you, we get your feedback, we decipher it, organize it, put it into some handy, you know, charts and graphs, and then we're going to put it into another survey and ask you all if we heard you correctly. So that second survey is coming around September and will be located, you know, on our website. We have those numbers, and then more specifically, we have these maps. So these maps were printed out at our meeting, and you know, you can come to our website and click on them and get a full high resolution view of what you're seeing here. And we'll also have these maps at our next meeting and any of those open house dates that we are establishing for you all. So if you want to see these in person, you can come and see them at those opportunities. You can again make sure that you're on our emailing list. You can make sure, if you have the time and would like to help us to become a plan ambassador, and you can leave us comments here. And we just have some frequently asked questions as well. But that is the, again, the first step of this process. We're at the very beginning. Jay, Sophia, and I are, you know, collecting your feedback, and we're gonna basically, we're going from the broad question of like, you know, what do you like, what don't you like? And we're gonna start getting more specific with each meeting and survey that we present to all of you. And, you know, eventually we'll have that plan created. We just got another question from David. Are trees of unique interest for Valrico? And Jay just responded that survey results seem, they appear to be. I personally, like, I think so as well. Like when I have driven through Valrico compared to some of the other communities of Hillsborough County that I've worked in or driven through, the trees here stuck out to me as well. But, you know, again, this is for you all to tell us, and just from a passing look at the survey, it looks like you all are telling us that it is something distinct about the community. So again, that opportunity is what this whole process is about. It's about you all calling out what is special about Valrico, how we maximize it, how we protect it, how we keep it you know, going for the future. And that's what this plan is hoping to accomplish. So if there are any more questions, please put them in the chat. But if not, you know, you have our contact information. It's on the website. It's also here on this slide. But I think we're pretty, but that's what we came here to say today. So I don't know, Jay, is there anything else that we need to cover?
No, I don't believe so, Alvaro. Everybody, thank you so very much. Again, this presentation has been recorded, and we will have this available on our website, the project webpage, here in a couple of days or a week. By all means, please do go out and see this and send it to your friends and neighbors. And if any of you are interested, we can always come out to the community again and work with a homeowners association or any other civic association and provide this presentation to you and answer any questions. So everybody, thank you so very much and have a great weekend.